Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that don't like rants, this might be a good day to take off, because I'm going to talk to you about something that I'm kind of passionate about. If you'll notice over my shoulder here, you've probably seen it before in the other videos, you see that it's a West Virginia football helmet. And I've been a West Virginia fan all my life. I've rooted for them when they had lean years, bad years, terrible years, when they absolutely stunk. And I've been a fan of them. I rooted for them in 1973 when I believe I was listening to them on the radio. Back then, the games weren't all on television. And I listened to them when they got beat by Penn State like 62-14 in 1973. John Cappelletti scored 4 touchdowns against them, just absolutely trounced them. And I followed them. I was a kid sitting in my living room in 1975 when Bill McKenzie kicked a field goal in the last second to beat West Virginia to beat Pitt 17-14. I was listening to the game in 1982 when Pat Randolph broke loose on a touchdown and they beat Penn State 17-14 that game, I believe. My dad and I sat in the stands in 1984 during Doug Flutie's Heisman season, and West Virginia beat them 21-20 after we were down 20-6 at halftime. Dad and I was at the game in 1988 when Major Harris broke loose and we beat Penn State that year. My brother-in-law was with me in 1993 when we beat Miami, and I think it was 17-14 then as well. My wife was with me in 2005 when we came back from a huge deficit. Our starting quarterback, Adam Benerick, was hurt. Pat White came in the game, and we came from behind to win in 3 overtimes against Louisville in a homecoming game. All I'm saying is I'm saying all this to just confirm that I've been a Mountaineer fan for a long time. I've followed them during a lot of bleak and down years, but I've also followed them through a lot of glory over that time. And I was there when they lost to Pitt. The year probably knocked them out of a national championship. The score 19-13 still gives me still causes my blood pressure to go up. But I've been a fan for a long time. But, well, as I look at him right now, I'm just going to say it. Neal Brown is not a head coach. He may be a head coach at the level that he was at, but he's not a head coach for the level that he's at now. And I think West Virginia needs to fire Neal Brown. Now, I know there's some monetary issues that are making it hard and difficult for West Virginia to fire him. Right now, if they get rid of him probably now or through the end of the season, I think there's like a $16 million buyout. And so it makes it difficult to fire Neal Brown and still have money to get a coach. West Virginia is not loaded with money like Texas or Ohio State, Notre Dame, somewhere like that. So the foolish buyout that they gave him when they extended his contract, which was probably one of the most boneheaded things I've seen West Virginia do in all the years I've followed them. Now they're hurting about it. But I'm one guy, I'm one opinion, and probably my opinion don't mean all that much. But I think there's a way to get around this. I think there's something they could do that would solve this problem for them. And I'm going to suggest it right now. Nobody will listen. I don't expect them to. But there is a scenario out there that could get West Virginia out of this problem. My suggestion is that West Virginia immediately, right now, fire Neal Brown. Now, who's going to coach them, you say? I've got a suggestion. My suggestion will bring them a guy that they could probably afford, a guy that'll probably come there, a guy that'll put backsides in their seats up there and probably fill the stadium. That guy is none other than Pat White. You take Neal Brown, you send him down the road, you pay him his $16 million, and you offer Pat White $500,000, $1 million to come there and coach at West Virginia. Pat White knows how to win a football game. I don't think Pat White at West Virginia ever lost 2 games in a row. He knows how to get a team ready. He knows about a running offense. He's been an offensive coach. I believe he's a coach at San Diego right now, an assistant. But he knows about getting players ready for game time. He knows about a quarterback being running and throwing. So he would be excellent at that. But I'm afraid West Virginia's going to lose their quarterback recruit, Nico, if they don't do something pretty soon. And people aren't coming to games. They're not ready. West Virginia football, these players aren't ready for the games. They're not up for the games. They're not prepared. They're not disciplined. And I believe that's something you get with Pat White. You send him there, I believe he'll come there. What West Virginia can do, you could probably get him there for $1 million, maybe even less. And he'd be delighted to come there. The fans will come to watch Pat White coach them. Yes, it's an experiment. Yes, it might not work out. But it just might. And you offer him incentives and bonuses for wins. You might find out you got a real diamond in the rough. You know what he was as a quarterback, and you know what he was as a leader. And the man's the only person in college football history to go to 4 straight bowls and win all 4. The only one. The man knows how to win. So if West Virginia is serious, if they really mean business about winning football games, and our athletic director, Lyons, really means business about winning games and getting West Virginia. Look, I don't care if they win every week, but they ought to be exciting every week. They ought to be tough. They ought to hit people. They ought to play. They ought to play inspired. That's what I ask for. That's what I demand as a fan and a follower. I expect him to at least be exciting. I expect him to be excited about playing. I don't see that now. And 4 years into his coaching reign, that's on Neal Brown. And we're losing too many players to the transfer portal. I think that's on Neal Brown too. It's just ridiculous. There's no excuse for it anymore. And honestly, this idea from one dumb cowboy Mountaineer fan that writes Western novels is a way that West Virginia could save probably save their program. And I think it's the best idea out there. I haven't heard it mentioned by anybody else. But the time has come. You need to fire Neal Brown. And you need to hire Pat White to replace him. I'm telling you, it'll save the day. It'll save the program. Now's the time. I wish they'd do it. Pat White might be your answer. He was your answer on the football field. He may be your answer on the sidelines. Anyway, that's just a West Virginia football rant from a fan that's loved them all his life. And that's about all I got to say for it right now. Perhaps I'll be back to something else next week. But frankly, I'm just disgusted. And something needs to be done about it. Anyway, thanks for stopping in this week. The rant's over for now. If you don't mind, hit like and subscribe. And join me again next week. Thank you very much. Bye now.